Hannah, a top-tier counter-terrorism agent with a flawless mission record. Crouched low on the deserted road, her hands moving swiftly as she planted landmines over the crackling walkie-talkie, her voice remained calm and calculated as she informed her partner, Yoon Song-yu, that direct engagement wasn't an option. She planned to sneak in, targeting the tires of the truck in front to minimize force, just enough to create chaos and slip into the trailer unnoticed. Her partner, Yoon Song-yu, responded with skepticism, asking if she intended to hold up the entire group until Giulio Parenti arrived. Hannah sharply dismissed the idea and laid out her plan with precision. Detonate the landmine when Mesa's vehicle appeared. Then sneak into the trailer under the cover of chaos. And wait for Giulio to show up. She emphasized her minimal force approach, explaining it was just enough to buy herself time to infiltrate the trailer. Yoon Song sighed in resignation, urging her not to die. Hannah raised an eyebrow at his remark, prompting him to admit, somewhat nervously, that he was starting to like her more than he'd expected. Rolling her eyes, Hannah replied with icy sarcasm, calling his comment old and predictable. Yoon. Song laughed, teasing her for being mean before shifting to a serious tone. He updated her on the targets. The first vehicle was 3 minutes away, while the second, a convoy of 5 black SUVs carrying Parenti, trailed 25 minutes behind. Hannah acknowledged the information with a curt copy that. The tension thickened as the countdown began. Yoon Song relayed the remaining time, noting their speed of 70 kilometers per hour. At the final moment, Hannah pressed the detonator, triggering a deafening explosion that engulfed the SUV in flames. Yoon Song's voice crackled through the comms, alerting Hannah that signs of life had been detected inside the trailer. Scanning the area with sharp eyes, she slipped into the container, rifle ready. The door creaked open, revealing 3 armed men. Without hesitation, Hannah fired 3 precise shots, neutralizing them before they could react. But as she reloaded, a 4th attacker emerged from the shadows. Yoon Song's urgent warning came through her earpiece, behind you at 11 o'clock. Hannah spun around, but blood splattered across her face, obscuring her vision. She stumbled, wiping it away. Just as Yoon Song informed her he'd taken care of the threat. Annoyed, Hannah glared at the fallen attacker and muttered a sarcastic thanks. She dragged the corpses aside, clearing the area before asking for an update on Target 2. Yoon Song's reply was tense, 5 minutes away, moving at high speed, with a large collision anticipated. Hannah's eyes widened in disbelief. What? Are they planning to crash into us? Before she could process the situation, a furious voice echoed from inside the container. The driver was yelling about stolen goods belonging to Giulio Parenti, his panic and anger palpable. He ranted about regretting the contract, making Hannah suspect he'd never wanted Parenti's cargo in the first place. Yoon Song's sharp warning cut through her thoughts, collision imminent. The container shook violently as the crash reverberated through the metal frame. Something struck Hannah's head, sending blood trickling down her face. Dazed, she struggled to stay conscious as Yoon Song's frantic voice called out to her. Ignoring him, Hannah pulled out her earpiece and loaded her handgun, her breathing steady despite the pain. When someone stepped into the container, she aimed at the intruder, her hand trembling slightly. If you take one more step, I'll shoot, she threatened. The man didn't flinch. Instead, he stepped closer, grabbed the gun, and pressed it to his forehead. Go ahead. I've been waiting to die. Before Hannah could react, a heavy blow struck her from behind. Pain exploded at the base of her skull, and her vision blurred as she crumpled forward. The man caught her before she hit the ground, lifting her effortlessly. One of his underlings asked what he planned to do with her. The man's lips curled into a faint, sinister smile as he adjusted his grip. Take her with us, he said calmly. I need to see if she's useful. Hannah's vision blurred as she slowly regained consciousness. Her head throbbed, and her body felt heavy, bound tightly to a chair. Instincts kicking in, she assessed her surroundings, her captors nearby. She tested the ropes. But a smooth, mocking voice interrupted her. Looks like you've got quick reflexes, the man remarked, amusement dripping from his tone. Hannah's gaze snapped to him. Giulio Parenti, capo of the Sicilian mafia, a few feet away from her, a cigarette dangling from his lips. His sharp features were illuminated by the glow of the room. Giulio Parenti, she said steadily. Parenti exhaled smoke, studying her with narrowed eyes. And you are? He asked, his voice deceptively calm. Hannah didn't flinch. That's right. I was waiting for you. His smirk deepened. Why? Hannah grinned slyly. Before I answer that, take off my clothes. Parenti straightened, eyebrows shooting up in surprise. Excuse me? Her grin widened. You don't expect me to leave the bathroom looking like this, do you? Look how filthy I am. Parenti grabbed her chin. His thumb brushing her lips in an unsettlingly intimate. He leaned in close, his breath hot against her skin as he murmured, "Who said you'd be leaving here alive?" His voice dropped lower, dark with amusement. Was that your attempt to flirt with me? Hannah's expression didn't waver. As if, she retorted sarcastically. But I guarantee you, you're going to end up needing me. Parenti's smirk turned predatory. Me? Need you? Parenti withdrew his hand but kept his gaze locked on Hannah's. Without warning, he thrust 2 fingers into his mouth, wet them and pressed them against her tongue before she could react. Whiter, Parenti cut in, voice firm. She clenched her jaw, but he wasn't finished. He leaned closer, pressing his legs between hers in an invasive, deliberate motion. If that's what you want, you'd better get used to things like this, don't you think? Hannah's face flushed, but her voice stayed steady. You misunderstood. The door slammed open. Lorenzo, the white-haired man from the container, stormed in, disbelief twisting his features. Giulio. He glared between Hannah and Parenti. I thought you were killing her. What are you waiting for? Parenti straightened, calm but sharp-eyed. I was. She said she came to kill me. Then she started coming on to me. Before I knew it, I was distracted. Lorenzo's eyes widened. Again? Don't tell me you. A sharp look from Parenti silenced him. Fear flickered in Lorenzo's stiff posture. I take it back, he stammered. I was just worried. Hannah's mind raced. Again? Her Italian was shaky, but the meaning was unmistakable. Something was wrong. She needed an opening. While their attention wavered, she twisted her wrists, working the hidden blade against the ropes. Lorenzo drew a gun, aiming at her. I'll handle this cleanly. No, Parenti countered. Go report yesterday's incident. A gunshot cracked. Hannah had freed herself. In one fluid motion, she looped the rope around Lorenzo's throat and pressed his own gun to his temple. Don't move, she warned, voice icy. Parenti smirked, impressed. We did a poor job tying you up. Wouldn't have mattered, Hannah said, tightening her grip. I was always going to track you down. Footsteps pounded as more men burst in. She didn't flinch. Nothing stops me from finishing what I came for. Parenti tilted his head. You were looking for me? Hannah grinned. You still don't get it? You walked right into my trap. I orchestrated this. The underlings hesitated. Romano, a bespectacled man, spoke up. Giulio. Parenti waved him off. Eyes locked on Hannah. What do you want? Your help, she said. In exchange, I'll catch the bastard impersonating you. Parenti leaned back, amused. Bit late. Mesa's men were sniped before I could interrogate them. My brother's been tracking your double, Hannah shot back. Help me, and we find who's behind it. Your brother? Parenti's smirk turned lethal. Rumor says I ordered his death. He's alive, Hannah said flatly. That's why I'm here, to confirm you didn't do it. Parenti's gaze sharpened. He must mean a lot to you. Hannah's jaw tightened. This had always been the plan, to make herself indispensable. Do we have a deal? She asked, her voice steady. She had orchestrated all of this just to seize Parenti's attention. Now, she needed him to believe she was valuable. If she could convince him of her usefulness, her mission, to save her missing brother, would be one step closer to success. "What do you say?" she pressed again, watching him closely. Parenti stood, unbuttoning his shirt. "First, you get what you asked for." He shrugged it off, revealing a toned torso, then tossed the shirt to Romano. "Bring it." Romano moved with efficient obedience, returning moments later with a crystal glass filled with deep red wine. He extended it toward Hannah, his face an unreadable mask. "Here," he said simply. "Take this and release Lorenzo." Hannah's gaze darted between the glass and Romano, suspicion tightening her features. "You expect me to drink that?" she challenged, her voice edged with skepticism. Giulio's chuckle rumbled through the room as he leaned casually against the table, his half-naked form a study in controlled power. "You demanded I undress," he pointed out, "yet you won't extend me this small trust?" A tense silence followed as Hannah's mind raced through the possibilities. The wine could be poisoned or drugged, but something told her they weren't ready to kill her yet. The risk had to be taken. With sudden violence, she drove her foot into Lorenzo's side, sending him sprawling. As she simultaneously wrenched the glass from Romano's hand. Her eyes never left Giulio's as she raised the wine to her lips. And drained it in one defiant swallow. Almost immediately, the room began to swim before her eyes. "Strong stuff," she managed to think as her knees buckled. But before she could hit the ground, Giulio was there, his arms closing around her with surprising gentleness as consciousness slipped away. "The doctor?" Giulio asked, shifting Hannah's limp form in his arms. Romano consulted his watch. 30 minutes out. Giulio nodded, his attention returning to the unconscious woman. With unexpected care, he brushed a stray lock of hair from her pale face, his fingers trailing down to linger at the pulse point on her neck. "See that she receives full treatment," he ordered, his voice low but carrying absolute authority. "Every last inch of her." The charged silence that followed was broken only by the uneasy shifting of Giulio's men as they exchanged uncertain glances, none daring to voice the questions hanging heavy in the air. Hannah's eyes fluttered open, her vision swimming with disorientation before focusing on the needle lodged in her arm. The sterile bandages wrapped tightly around her body suggested professional medical attention, far more than she had expected. Had a doctor treated her? She wondered. Her thoughts spun rapidly. So they'd only drugged her? Yet someone had taken the time to properly dress her wounds. As her gaze drifted to the window, determination hardened in her chest. Dewey's rescue was all that mattered, no matter the cost. But first, she needed food. Then she could strategize a new approach with Parenti. When she pushed herself out of bed, her bare feet met cold flooring. A quick scan of the room confirmed her suspicion, her clothes were gone. That bastard had tossed them out. She clenched her fists. She'd known he'd be difficult, but this level of control was unhinged. And why was he even keeping her alive? He clearly had no intention of accepting her offer. Steeling herself, she yanked the door open only to crash straight into Lorenzo. They recoiled, eyes locking in a tense standoff. Lorenzo was the first to react, his finger jabbing toward her accusingly. "It's you." Hannah threw her hands up in surrender. "I'm sorry. I feel awful about earlier." A calculated thought flickered through her mind. If she played nice, she might pry information about Parenti out of him. A smirk tugged at her lips before she shifted tactics, cracking her knuckles with exaggerated menace. "You shouldn't have pulled a gun on me," she hissed. "Now I'm pissed." Lorenzo's jaw tightened. "Go back to your room. Don't try anything stupid." "I won't," she promised, clasping her hands in mock pleading. "I'll be the perfect hostage. But first, food. I haven't eaten all day. I'm starving." He hesitated before relenting. "We don't have much." "Will that do?" "Anything," she insisted. With a sigh, Lorenzo pressed a hidden button beneath his collar, likely a transmitter, and motioned for her to follow. Static buzzed briefly before his voice dropped, suspicion lacing his words. "Who the hell are you, really?" An assassin? A North Korean spy? Wrong on both counts, she replied coolly. South Korean Special Forces. Now. Just a baeksu. Somewhere else, Parenti listened, the glow of his cigarette flaring as he exhaled. The kitchen, spacious and dimly lit, smelled of herbs and olive oil. Hannah perched on a stool, watching with mild surprise as Lorenzo cracked eggs into a bowl with surprising finesse. Could a mafia enforcer really be a secret chef? Hannah was surprised by Lorenzo's cooking skills, so she asked, "How are you this good in the kitchen?" Lorenzo stiffened. "Sei taught me." Hannah seized on the name. Sei? Yeah, Lorenzo admitted reluctantly. There's a girl who looks a lot like you. Eat, he muttered, sliding a fluffy omelette toward her. Steam curled from its golden surface, the scent of garlic and chili oil making her mouth water. She forked a bite, the flavors melting on her tongue. You're good at this. Are you the family's cook? Lorenzo said it's a hobby. Between bites, she probed further. Earlier, you mentioned someone named Sei. Giulio's mistress? His face darkened. Don't never say that name around Giulio. Not a word. Hannah chewed slowly, filing the reaction away. So, Sei is a trigger. She smiled, all innocence. Understood. But tell me, why does a man like Giulio keep a soldier who cooks? Lorenzo's grip whitened on the counter. Finish your food. Then we go back. She obeyed, but her mind raced. Every scrap of information was a potential weapon. And she intended to collect them all. Outside, rain hammered against the pavement as sleek black cars rolled to a stop. Men in dark suits emerged, their presence deliberate, ominous. Parenti's voice cut through the storm, smooth and calculated. So you finally arrived. The man said, so you're looking for your brother? She didn't hesitate. Yeah. Do you know anything? A smirk curled his lips. Of course I do, his tone turning dismissive. Parenti doesn't take hostages, he hates the hassle. He'd rather just kill them. Hannah's grip tightened. And the imposters? Isn't he going after them? The man barked a laugh. We'd never get anything done if we chased every fool pretending to be him. There's more than one? A beat of silence. Hannah's mind raced. If Parenti wasn't pursuing them, had he been humoring her all along? But why? The intelligence service believed they had proof of Duy's betrayal. She needed to stay to find evidence clearing him. What game was Parenti playing?
If you'd like to watch the next chapter, the link is in the description. The recap is available on another channel.